much. I think it's better for us, yeah, yeah. It's better for us, yeah. I don't wanna lose ya. I love you too much, yeah, yeah. It's better for us than your mommy to daddy roll out.
Bless up, Dejo here, and I'm doing my part in the fight against COVID-19 by following all safety protocols and most importantly, rolling up my sleeve for the vaccine. So I'm encouraging you to do the same because that's our best shot of protecting ourselves, our family, and our friends. So don't wait, vaccinate. Let's roll up to roll out.
Reliable and responsible. SKELEC is here for you. SKELEC, the #1 utility provider, innovative and powering a brighter future. Responsive, we wouldn't have it any other way. With technology that is powering tomorrow. Reliable and responsible. SKELEC is here for you. Reliable and responsible. SKELEC is here for you. Powering our community.
morning, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to another edition of PowerTalk. My name is Patrice Harris. I'm the Corporate Communications Manager at SKELEC, And as you are very well aware, SKELEC is celebrating its 10th anniversary this month on the 1st of August 2021. We recognize that it has been 10 years since we transitioned from the St. Kitts Electricity Department, SKED, into the St. Kitts Electricity Company Limited, SKELEC. It has been quite a momentous occasion for us, and that is why you have been seeing us and hearing us all over. We have tons of activities taking place for our customers and our staff. This morning I have a full studio with me because a part of our anniversary activities include the promotion of careers in STEM. STEM meaning science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So this morning in studio with me I have two of the managers in the STEM field as well as Ms. Janisha Hendrickson, and I'm going to allow everyone in the room to just give a brief introduction as to who you are so our listeners can know who they're going to be hearing from this morning. Who's going to start first?
Okay. Good morning, I'm Kevin Bennett, the Power Generation Manager at SKELEC.
Good morning, Mr. Bennett. Thank you for coming.
It was my pleasure. I'm so deeply honored to be here. And
Oh, wonderful!
Morning everyone, my name is Wandel Philip. I'm the Planning and Development Manager at SKELEC.
Good morning, Mr. Philip. Thank you for coming. It's such a wonderful and pleasurable experience for you.
Yeah. It is a pleasure.
Very well. Thank you for coming.
Good morning everyone, my name is Janisha Hendrickson and I am the Corporate Communications Officer at SKELEC.
So good morning to you, Janisha. And Janisha has been here with us for quite some time and you will be seeing a lot more of her. Alright, so before we get into the conversations about STEM, I just want to give a brief synopsis as to what's been taking place for our anniversary this year. On Friday, there might be something special happening in the mail office downtown. I don't know, I heard a rumor somewhere. So on Friday, there might be something special taking place for our customers. So if you come by on Friday and you're making a bill payment, as you usually do at the end of the month, there might be something special happening. So, hint, hint. Also, for our anniversary, we had a panel discussion, a STEM panel discussion that took place last Wednesday, where we had both the general managers from NEVLEC and SKELEC, as well as the control and protection manager and the engineering manager and the technical manager for both SKELEC and NEVLEC. That panel discussion took place at the ZIZ studio, and that was a part of our STEM Careers in STEM campaign that we have running, a part of our anniversary. We understand that it is important to promote persons going away and studying and wanting to join the STEM field because it's a very exciting sector and industry to work in. Also, as a part of our anniversary activities, we will be doing several charitable events which include a large donation to the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services. And we're also doing a school drive, so we're handing over tokens to help the vulnerable persons in St. Kitts and Nevis by way of the Ministry of Social Development and Community Development and Social Services. Our activities will continue on the 4th of September, where we will have an International Day of Charity. We are going to see SKELEC workers out into the communities assisting vulnerable persons. So please look out for us. And the other big thing that we have happening for our customers is a pay to win promotion. So if you pay your bill during the month of August, no matter how you pay it, whether you come into our office, go into the bank, pay it online or over the phone or using our quick pay method, you stand a chance to win several prizes. One prize, the grand prize, is $2,500 to be spent at TDC. Now we were going through the list. Should we buy a wash machine? Should we buy a refrigerator? And we're like, no, let's let the customer get an opportunity to choose whatever they want to purchase with the voucher. So there's a $2,500 voucher at TDC up for grabs. There's also a 2-night stay at a hotel, $100 off of your electricity bill, or a $100 gas voucher. So there are many opportunities for you to win. So just make a bill payment, try to clear the bill as much as you can, and we are going to be so happy to give back to our customers at the end of the month, more than likely at the beginning of September. So I hope you are paying very close attention to all of the offerings for our 10th anniversary, especially as it relates to customer appreciation. Okay, so I don't want to have the gentlemen here in studio and I'm doing all of the talking. We really want to hear from them. Miss Hendrickson does have some questions and she'll be the one taking the lead on the STEM conversation this morning. But before Miss Hendrickson does so, I want both of the engineers in studio this morning to talk a bit about your journey, why you chose to study. How did you end up at SKELEC? So where did you start and how did you end up here? So let's start that way.
Mr. Bennett will go first.
This is a very, very interesting field, extremely dynamic. And you know, what I would have studied in Cuba, one of the things I studied was basically industrial engineering. Now, industrial engineering is a combination of everything. So it's mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, industrial, architecture, electrical engineering. Basically, it's a combination of everything. Accounting, etc. So by the time that you finish, you have an overall view of everything. You're able to design plans, you can read plans, you can do just about everything.
So it just means you're a super smart person.
Not necessarily. No.
You said accounting, chemical engineering, industrial engineering, electrical engineering. That's a lot. Was it difficult?
Yeah. The program in Cuba is it's a very intense program. So it really is a lot of work that you have to accomplish, and you have to do. It's a very rigorous program, but you know, once you have the drive, you know, once you have the passion and the drive for anything, you can accomplish anything.
Okay. How about you, Mr. Philip? And then I'll turn over to Janisha.
Alright, so if I go back to how I started, in all honesty, electrical engineering wasn't my first choice. Growing up, I had different passions, but that shifted at an early age. Just like Mr. Bennett, I traveled to Cuba to pursue my career in electrical engineering. It was dynamic, just as indicated. We did civil engineering, industrial engineering, telecommunications, a bit of architecture, we did some accounting. So it was, the journey to SKELEC was fun. It wasn't easy, but it was fun. In almost any engineering field, you are in it, I would say more than 50% because of the passion. So it was a fun journey getting here to SKELEC. I got to SKED in 2008. Started out as the construction and maintenance engineer, and from since then until now, it has been interesting, I would say.
Okay.
Very interesting.
Janisha?
Okay. So basically we'll be talking about STEM on a whole, but what is STEM? Many persons listening may trying to figure out what is STEM. So can you give us like a brief explanation what is STEM to the consumers?
Well, basically, it's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And the interesting thing about it is that a lot of persons apply some of the same principles without even realizing it. It's something that you use in your everyday life. And it's something simple, because I know people, for example, they're working on cars. They don't have the money to afford the fast cars, so they take the 1.3 litre engine, and they go and they install turbochargers and everything on it on their own. A lot of persons have skills, and a lot of these principles, they're actually using them without even realize that. So if you imagine if they have the knowledge on their own without any sort of formal training to go and make these engineering designs to vehicles and so on and so forth, take out the small engine, put in a bigger one. Imagine the kind of, you know, the expertise that they would have if they have to go and apply it in a particular business or something like that. So we have a lot of talent in St. Kitts. St. Kitts was a very good education system, probably one of the best in the world. So it's just a matter of taking all these energies and harnessing them and using the right approach, and then, you know, we as a people will be able to accomplish anything. But the important thing basically is to use this information in helping to develop St. Kitts, in helping to develop the economy. A lot of persons, when they go abroad to study and come back, they come back because they want to make a difference. They want to make an input. They want to see St. Kitts bigger and better. They want to see St. Kitts being as one of the best, not only in the Caribbean, but eventually the world. And that's something that, we should always try to aim for, and we should try to encourage persons. Because like I said, there are persons, they might not necessarily have the academic background, but they have the technical skills. It's just a matter of means of being able to harness these skills and applying them in other areas.
Because what you tend to find, whatever a parent does, especially it might be really more applicable for a boy child. And even as I reflect on my relationship with my father, stuff that I would see him do, I would start doing too. So if he took up a hammer and he started nailing it into a wall, I would want to do it too. If he was trying to plug a socket, plug something into a socket, I would want to do it too. So a lot of times it's sort of passed down from the parents. If my father is an electrician, if my father is a plumber, if I see that my mother is really good at math, children start to emulate these types of behaviors. Was that the case for either of you?
Well, before we get to that point, you touched on something very important. One of the issues we find is that we have an issue in St. Kitts where persons, if you're a man or a woman, or a boy or a girl, they categorize you. You're a woman, so, okay, your job, you're going to be a nurse, you're going to be whatever, and so on. Mm-hmm. And you find that persons tend to pigeonhole persons into that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what we have to parents, basically, they have their children go up to be like, in a sense, a reflection of yourself. Well, okay, I was a doctor, so you have to be a doctor, you have to be that. They don't give persons the opportunity to grow. So you find that persons end up in jobs where they're in their particular career because they were more or less kind of forced into that, and they're trying to please the parents to go into that. So you find that they don't really go into the engineering, and that's probably one of the reasons you don't find many females in the engineering sector, in the STEM, basically in terms of the STEM framework.
When both of you were studying, were there a lot of women in your classes? Were there a lot of women pursuing the engineering degrees as well?
No, it was mostly men. But as to continue what Mr. Bennett was talking to, I think that is one of the benefits now with STEM, is that we are hoping to break that gender gap and see more females take up more positions in the technical field.
And that is something that we really struggle with.
That is one of the benefits of STEM education.
Why do you think people don't want to pursue STEM? Is it that it's coming across as too difficult? Because, Mr. Bennett, to be honest, when you started talking about all of the things that you studied, my mind was kind of flipping, like accounts and industrial and chemical and electrical, and I barely got through math. So, is that the case? You think that people think it's too difficult?
No, it's a mindset.
It's not too difficult, but then when you look at STEM, there is a part where you have to educate the children, but then is a part, like you said, we'll have to educate the parents, the adults, as to what is STEM. Because I think the perception back then was that doing engineering and stuff like that is more hands-on, it's about a man's role, it's more of a tedious role. Exactly. So I guess it starts from the education where we have to start educating the parents as well as start educating the children. So it goes back to education and knowing more about what is involved.
So you would say that the curriculum that we have now, we should incorporate something to at least children that wants to become engineers, to can help them to pursue that path?
Well, we should start in the schools, because like Ms. Harris indicated that she would have seen her father doing stuff. And we would all agree that kids are very curious. And they tend to coming up now, it's a new environment for them. They see things, they ask a lot of questions as why. I mean, I have a young daughter, and even before she understands, she always asks why. So it's always the why, they're curious about touching, and so you have to continue with that curiosity. You have to keep piquing their interest. You have to keep growing them into it, so that if there isn't anything for them to, for example, they want to be able to push and pull, but if there's nothing for them to push and pull, then they lose interest over time, and it's just, so basically with them is whatever you put in is what you'll get out of them. So you need to start in the schools, early education, start doing a lot of these STEM courses, STEM classes.
Is it the case where we people have the perception that STEM is not glamorous? Because recently I saw, I think it was AVIC, they put out a poster trying to get females especially to come and do the mechanical course or the electrical course, their plumbing course. And as I would have mentioned earlier, is it that people just have the perception that STEM is like dirty work, like you dirty up your finger, you're just gonna look dirty at the end of the day? But there is another side to it, especially as we start talking about technology. Now we're looking at data analysts, we're looking at IT specialists, we're looking at, even within SKELEC itself, there's a very large technological component, a part of it. That's not primarily dirty work. So is it that we have to do a lot more branding and repositioning so that people can see, hey, we have 2 managers here. I don't think y'all get dirty on a day-to-day basis, but that is a reality.
I think Mr. Bennett should have, I guess, this is a perception of dirty work, so.
Okay, I think one issue is that you must have opportunities for persons. At the same time, you cannot have your children, the girls, you go to technical college, they go and learn automotive engineering, yet when they come out, there's no opportunity for them because nobody wants to hire a female. So we have to change the perception all across the board as well.
Is it the case that we don't want to hire females? Or is it the case
there are females who are interested in doing mechanic work, who went and studied mechanic, automotive mechanic in St. Kitts, and then the opportunity is not there for them. That's the sad reality of it. So you have to change your perception all across the board.
Mr. Philip, you had a comment you wanted to make earlier.
I wanted to...
The glamorous. We're talking about the glamour and the dirty. Glamour versus dirty. Yes, we're talking about...
No, well, you see, I had a comment to make on that, but I would not want to say it because I don't want to give persons the wrong idea of STEM.
Okay.
I really don't want to. But what I can say is that a career in STEM, it breeds innovation. And that is what would help the economy to go. Innovation leads to developers, and that's what we need right now.
And at the root of it, persons who are involved in STEM, not suggesting that persons who aren't, but especially engineers, because I have the privilege to work alongside engineers on a day-to-day basis, and one of the things I observe about them is that they are problem solvers. So you'll always hear, especially Mr. Phillips say, I was thinking about this, and I think that if we do A, B, and C, we're going to get it solved. So if you see that your child has a particular habit like that, I think it's important to start to harness the child's curiosity and problem-solving nature and try to encourage them to not shy away from the STEM field. We have a lot of persons who pursue degrees in business administration, in accounting in particular. I'm not saying that they are not important, because even within our company we have a large administrative arm, and those components of the company are crucial for the running of the company. Because if you leave it up to the engineers, they will buy all $100,000 parts, they will not be concerned about overtime, they will not be concerned about HR or anything.
We are trained in accounting as well.
Okay, so I take it back.
You see, that's the beauty about it, is that the engineers are any person pursuing a STEM career, they actually deal with real life situations. They're really problem solvers. So, I mean, you might look at the $100,000 equipment and things like that. We are looking at, but it's...
If you spend $100,000 on equipment, it would save you $2 million.
So it's a real life situation where you
vision,
forward thinking.
Yeah, you have to be able to see down the road. Because people question, why are you spending $100 on this thing now? And I tell them, look, if we spend this $100 in 6 months' time, it'll pay for itself, and then after that,
and there's always a justification for doing what we do. It's not just
accounting. They only see the figures.
So y'all hear how the engineers are attacking me, right? What we're saying is that within any company, they will need to have that balance. So you will need the persons that pursue the traditional business management areas to strike a balance with the persons who are in the technical field. Now, both of you are managers, and you manage some of the most crucial persons in SKELEC. So you manage our climbers, our emergency team, our planning team. You are managing our operators, our mechanics for the generators. tell us about what that is like on a day-to-day basis. Is that a lot of pressure for you? Is it the case where, what is it like being an engineer in an electrical utility?
Okay, well,
I know what it's like being a communication manager, but you tell me what it's like being an engineer.
The unfortunate thing for the power station, we are very, very, very fortunate because we have very, very, very skillful people. We have probably some of the best skilled mechanics in the world, and it's operators, so it makes the job so much easier. Normally persons, other companies would hire foreigners to come in and do their maintenance. Most of the maintenance is carried out on our own. But occasionally if you have like a specialized job to do, then we bring in somebody, but like I said, all guys are very, very, very skillful, so we benefit greatly from that. Same thing for our operations staff. They're extremely brilliant, and the interesting thing about that, they are very young people. Most of them are very, very, very young people. And then we've done assessments because in other utilities, a particular item was introduced, and it took people at that facility about a month to learn it. With our staff, within a week, everybody was up to speed with everything. So, like I said, we are very, very fortunate. We have very, very, very skillful staff. And unfortunately, though, most persons don't really appreciate us as much because, in our line of business, is whenever the lights go, we get blamed for it. But the important thing is that there's so much work which goes on behind the scenes, but unfortunately, the public is not even aware of it. And that's where we like to keep it.
You like to keep it that way?
Yeah, well, like I said, we work behind the scenes and we keep the lights on. The unfortunate thing is that persons don't know what we have to do to keep the lights on. And then when we're able to keep the lights on, first it's like a success because you're trying to achieve something. And we're able to find a problem, solve the problem, get it corrected, and then in a timely manner, and everything's working fine. It's like a satisfaction. I think that's the most important thing. Persons get the level of satisfaction when they're able to solve a problem, repair something on time, keep the lights on. So it's something which unfortunately we don't get recognized for it, but it's something that it's self-fulfillment because we're happy that we're able to use all this knowledge and keep the lights on. But the unfortunate thing, the world doesn't know what we have to do to achieve it.
Mr. Philip, what about you and the team you manage? You manage the climbers.
I would disagree with Mr. Bennett in one thing, in that I would like the public to know exactly what goes on. That way it makes my job at least a little more easier.
And mine.
Right. So so in my department we are responsible for the planning, the construction of the infrastructure, and in some parts the maintenance of the infrastructure. Now, what we do on a daily basis that I really wish that certain persons would understand is that any person applying for new supply, building a home, coming onto the grid for the first time, we are responsible for going out doing the assessment and what's not. But in any given month, we have upwards of maybe 10 to 15 new applications for persons wanting to be connected to the grid. And the task behind it is not simple. Some could be done in a day, 2 days, some take 9 days. It varies. And so it's a bit it gets frustrating sometimes. You're trying to provide that supply and that service to everyone, but at the same time you can't please everyone at the same time. You have persons who would be calling you on a daily basis. I'm paying mortgage, I'm paying rent, I can't get into my house because there's no electricity. And most of the time it's not us. Sometimes the infrastructure, the layout, we don't have the drawings, the plans, we don't have certain critical components needed to start the infrastructure. So it gets a bit frustrating at times. And when you have to deal with the guys and be back and forth, it's not as glamorous as Mr. Bennett would want it to seem. I mean, in the end of the day, we do get what we do. We get it done. but I would like that everybody understand that it's not just as easy as it is. It's not that easy.
It's a dedicated staff.
The staff is very dedicated. They find ways to innovative ways to to get the task completed. At times you see them juggling at least 2-3 jobs a day just to try to accommodate everyone. We do have that now and again where we, as you said, the overtime comes in, but I mean, it's all in the best interest of the company at times, most of the times.
And the customers.
And the customers.
Customers, very, very important.
Right, so
yeah, that's the reason why we do all this hard work anyway. For the customers.
Because from the time someone goes into their house and they flip that switch and it doesn't come on, that's when they remember SKELEC, you know. SKELEC is, as Mr. Bennett mentioned before, the #1 company, but when you flip that switch and it doesn't come on, public enemy number one.
It's something that we are used to.
I don't like that.
Yeah, but
it's not a good thing, but we are used to it.
Yeah.
So earlier you mentioned some of the benefits that someone can have in STEM. Can you expound on that? Because studies has shown that it's a financially stable job. But beside the financial stability, what else can someone benefit from in STEM?
I will jump in, and I know Mr. Bennett will agree with me. One of the things that we found by pursuing what I found when I pursued my career, when I traveled overseas, it kind of also bridged that gap between different cultures and ethnicity and all those stuff. So for me, that was also a benefit for me.
Mr. Bennett, I see you're putting your list together.
You know, and apart from financial, one of the most important things is that you must love what you do. You must have a passion for what you do. Because if you're in a job and it's not what you want to do, you'll never be happy. But yeah, you just try. Like I said, it's just something that once you're able to. Because some persons, they like to solve problems, they like to work with their hands, they like to get things done. And you know, persons who like to work with their hands, at the same time, when you finish accomplishing something, when you finish putting the fuel pump together, putting the oil pump together, and you put on the engine and everything's working fine, then you get it's a job satisfaction you get from that. You know, and like I said, the staff is very, very dedicated because we love what we do, which is the most important thing. And then once you're happy in a job, once you're satisfied with what you do, then everything else becomes easy. For you, it's not really like work, it's just something, but this is something that we need to get done, it's something that we need to do, something we need to get solved. So I think that's one of the reasons why I guess a lot of persons work at SKELEC. It's just the satisfaction that they get. You may not get the appreciation, a lot of persons complain about that. The staff don't really get the appreciation, but you know, it's something that they get satisfaction. But at this point, we like to say, you know, we appreciate the staff, obviously from the generation end. We are very appreciative of the staff. We are very appreciative of the hard work that they do, the sacrifices that they make, because it's a very difficult job in a sense, and then the safety component is a very high risk job, and I think probably by now the world more or less realizes, you know, what the possibilities that can happen, you know, in certain situations. So safety is very, very, very critical, and therefore the most important person you have are the persons around you, because you have to take care of each other. You have to monitor each other and make sure all the safety protocols are followed and everything goes well. So safety is really, 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 really important.
All right, we are going to have to start to wrap up the program, but I know I always give the callers an opportunity, or our listeners, to call and ask a question or two. You have two of the Randall is humming. Our callers are quite nice on this program, just letting you know. We have two of the managers here, and myself and Janisha, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. This morning we have been discussing careers in STEM, and particularly at SKELEC, and why it's important for persons to pursue these areas. Do we have a caller, GQ? All right, good morning, caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, yes?
Good morning, my Prime Minister.
Lulu, you know how long I'm looking for you? Come look for me Friday. I might have something for you. I have something for you. Come look for me on Friday, Lulu.
You ain't going to end up my, you know. You don't tell me of the word the same day. that I didn't get in, that they have my baggage, so I'm going to come down here Friday, and I will get whatever, because I know that I am looking with Kevin, Gita, everybody. I want to say good morning. A lot of people don't know that my village, they from music, the beauty and the dance. So. But if they have a job, if they have a little birthday party or whatever, they could hire him to the backyard because he plays good music and he's a good dancer. So my dancer name, what's your name?
Mr. Bennett?
Bennett. Mr. Bennett?
Morning, how are you?
All the messages to you all around there. I love you all. You are my number one workers. And I love you all. Keep up the good work. The last time I was here, everybody beat me down, telling me, you ain't calling, you walk on the SKELEC, you ain't calling. But I say I called, but I did not get it because Carol get in before me. I did not call to win nothing because I know I'm there and you all is there for me. I want to wish you all the best. And I will pray for you all and I will pick up you all at the ear. And when I pass.
Okay, so we lost a little bit. Thank you. Do we have any more callers, GQ? All right. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
The other day, I went here to send film, and in the was full, but I went in the part where you're 62, and they said that is not needed anymore during Corona. And I couldn't stand up no longer. This is dumpling. Well, I couldn't stand up no longer because in the full. So I went up in the other part where they say, senior citizen. But the boy told me that how I can't make no noise because I really didn't make no noise. I said, what's going on here? I see young people in the line. And I said, but you said the senior citizen, he said, they're in height now, in the Corona. So I would like to know if when senior citizens come, it's supposed to use the money to say that is a senior citizen. Let me tell them come up front and take the money and everybody guys was me and must work 3 hours walk back out. So I want to have to start that the senior citizen line.
All right, Dumpling, thank you for calling. Thank you so much for your call.
I want to know when I come, if I want to show them, I'm weighing them. So just let me know. If when I come Friday, and in the full, I will get you early.
Okay, thank you for calling, Dumpling. I know prior to COVID, we did have the senior citizens area, and also when we started doing the social distancing, we did have 2 lines. We did have a line for essential workers and seniors, and we did have the ordinary line. I cannot say for certain if that has continued, but I will inquire to see what arrangements we can make for Friday. But thank you for calling. Do we have any other callers, GQ? Alright, so we don't have any other callers, so we're going to take the opportunity now to have our 2 panelists just provide their final and parting words, especially to give a nudge to anyone who might be considering this field so that they can definitely make the decision that you made several years ago. Who's going to be the brave first starter? Mr. Bennett?
Okay, well, the important thing is just to, follow your passion. Follow what you love to do. You'll get more satisfaction out of it.
Randall?
Alright, so basically, I would say to anyone wishing to follow a career path in STEM, just to be mindful that there are many different specifications, specialties, and so it's just for you to choose one, be passionate about it, and follow through.
Follow your dream.
Follow your dream. And don't let anybody bully you into studying something that you don't want. I know a lot of parents do that to their children. They say, I'm not going to support you if you go and you study dance or if you study literature or art. They might say that to you. But you, at the end of the day, you know what is best for you, and we want you to consider careers in STEM. We want you to consider studying environmental science, renewable energy, physics, any of these areas, especially technology, because these are the areas that we desperately need persons to help to develop the nation of St. Kitts and Nevis as we progress. So thank you for tuning in this morning. It has been a wonderful program. I realize when I come on my own, y'all call a lot and y'all bully me and everything, but when I bring persons with me who can really help to answer the questions, we don't get as many callers. So I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but I love you listeners. I want you to continue to stay tuned to everything that SKELEC is doing by way of our social media pages and listen to our radio program. It's aired twice a month, and you can always look for the replay on Facebook or on YouTube. Remember, SKELEC is the #1 utility provider in the Federation, and we wouldn't have it any other way. We're always with you when you need it most because we are reliable and responsible. Have a great day.
Responsible. SKELEC is here for you. SKELEC the #1 utility provider, innovative and powering a brighter future. Responsive, we wouldn't have it any other way. With technology